Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to create this look for you, and it's a bit more of a cool tone look. There's a lot of plums and taupe shades in here, and I mainly wanted to play with Makeup Geek's Wisteria Forward eyeshadow, so I hope you enjoy it. First up, I'm going to start by priming my skin with the YSL Matte Touch Oil Free Primer. And as always, I'm going to be mainly concentrating this down the centre of my T-zone because that's where I tend to get the most oiliest and also where I tend to have the most kind of open pores. I'm going to be using two foundations which are pretty much the same thing. I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation in the shade Y335, but then I'm also going to be using the old formula, which is just the regular HD foundation, and this is in the shade 28, so it's literally just one shade darker than this one. So I'm going to be using this shade in the centre of my face, and I'm going to be using this one around the circumference of my face, if that is the right word. I'm going to move on to the brows, and I finally got another one of the Anastasia brow wiz, but this time I've gone for the shade medium brown. And I'm just going to go in with the pencil side and just start filling in the sparse areas of my brow, and then just kind of also following the natural shape of the brow at the same time. Then I'm going to go in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade, and this is the shade Dark Brown, and I'm going to take that on the kind of outer half tail end of my brow because I like to have that bit a little bit more defined compared to the rest of the brow. So I'm just only going in with a very little bit just to kind of slightly intensify and further define this outer bit. Then I'm going to go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Tinted Brow Gel, and I'm in the shade Espresso, and I'm literally just going to comb through the brows just to kind of set them in place. Now I'm going to move on to the eyes, and to prime my eyelids I'm going to be using the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion Anti-Aging. For the eyes I am going to start off with the shade Vanilla Bean from Makeup Geek. I like to apply it all over the lid just to kind of set the primer. It also provides a nice powdery base so that when you go over on top with eyeshadows it just makes it much more easier to blend. For my transition shade I'm going to go in with Makeup Geek Unexpected. I'm going to apply that straight into the crease. Then back in with the clean blending brush. Then I'm going to go in with a flat shader brush, and I'm going to go in with the shade Prom Night, which is this shade right here. I'm going to go and take that on the outer third of the lid. But you kind of want to leave the middle of the eyelid blank. Then I'm also going to place that colour on the inner third of the eyelid. Not quite on the inner corner, just kind of next to it. And then going in with the transition blending brush and just moving out and blending that shadow we just placed down. Okay, then we're going to repeat on the other side. Okay, then I'm going to be going in with the Makeup Geek Forward eyeshadow in the shade Mesmerize, and I'm going to place it right where we put Prom Night, not taking it as much in as Prom Night though. We just want the colour concentrated mainly on the outer third. Again, taking the blending brush, just buff away at that top edge. Then I'm going to take an ever so small amount of it and put it on the inside corner, just not taking it as far in. Blending brush. To further deepen that outside corner, I'm going to go in with the shade Deep Cocoa. This is a Morphe single eyeshadow. So I'm going to take that. This is on a E36 brush, and I'm literally taking the shadow and kind of extending from the bottom lash line outwards, almost like if you were doing a wing. And then when I kind of hit the outside crease, I'm just going to kind of pull it backwards and kind of join the line into the crease, and then I kind of fill it in, that pointy triangle bit in, and going back into the going back in with the brush that I applied with the transition shade with, and just gonna buff away at that top edge of the shadow we just placed down, and kind of trying to seamlessly blend that into the transition shade that we've already got down. Then as always, back in with the clean blending brush, just smoothing that all away. Then for the middle bit of the eye, I am going to go in with another flat shade brush, but perhaps a cleaner one. And I'm going to use the shade Wisteria, which is one of the newer Makeup Geek foiled eyeshadows. So I'm going to apply that right in the center of the eye where we kind of left that space. For my brow bone highlight, I'm going to go in with Makeup Geek's Vanilla, which was the first shade that we applied all over the lid, but I'm just going to pack it on a little bit more. And then I'm going to go in with an ever so slight amount of Makeup Geek's Shimmer Shimmer, and that's going to go just under the arch of the brow. Then I'm going to go and move on to curling my lashes. I'm going to go in with the L'Oreal Perfect Slim Super Liner. Or is it Super Slim Perfect Liner? Wing done. Now I'm going to go in with a coat of the L'Oreal False Lash Architect 4 Dimensions Effect Fibers Waterproof Mascara. Every single time it's a mouthful. I'm going to tightline my waterline. And for that I'm going to be using my Iphora Smoky Goddess eyeliner pencil thing. And the lashes I'm going to be using today are the House of Lashes Boudoir style, and just kind of place them. For the under eyes, I'm going to go in with the LA Girl Pro Conceal High Definition Concealer, and I'm using this shade Creamy Beige, and then I'm just going to apply that straight under the eyes. Not the best applicator in the world, I must say, because you end up squeezing out way too much product. And then I'm going to mix in a little bit of the MAC Prep and Prime highlighter in the shade Light Boost. And to blend it, I'm going to be using the Morphe G2 brush. Okay, then we are going to go in and set that under eye work with the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. Then I'm going to conceal and highlight the rest of my face, and for that I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, and this is the shade 10. I'm just going to use the same brush, the Morphe G2, to blend that in. Right, before I set the face, I'm going to highlight the centre of my forehead, and for that I'm going to use the Smashbox Step by Step Contour Stick in the shade Highlight. Draw a baby tree right in the centre of my forehead. Same G2 brush. Right, setting my face in place, I'm going to take the shade Lyric from the Kat Von D Shade Light palette, which is the middle yellow shade. I want to contour my nose, and for that I'm going to be using, of course, the Smashbox Step by Step Contour Stick in the shade Contour, and I'm going to take my trusty Zoeva 223 Petite eye blender, if I can find it. Take a little bit of the product onto the brush, because I find that you're less prone to getting too much product on the nose when you do it this way.
Take it down the sides of my nose.
Then I'm going to go in with my other trusted Zoeva brush, and it's the 142 Concealer Buffer brush. Slightly bigger than the last brush I just used, and I'm going to use this to kind of blend out that contour. Then I'm going to go back in with the highlight stick and take that along the centre of my nose. Taking the concealer buffer brush, just take off any excess on the brush. To set the contour, I'm going to go in with the shade Subconscious from the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour palette. Middle yellow shade again, and just take a little bit of that and take it along the centre of the nose, and that's going to just set that creamy highlight shade. Right, now to contour the face. For that I'm going to be taking, let's take the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette and use the shade Subconscious again. And to bronze up my skin, I'm going to be using the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer in the shade Radiant Bronze Light. Before we go on to blush and highlight, I'm going to go back to my eyes. I know we're a little bit all over the place today, but bear with me. First I'm going to go in with the shade Unexpected, and this is going to go right the way along my bottom lash line. I'm going to take the shade Mesmerize, and that is going to go on the outer third of the bottom lash line. Then I'm going to define the outer part of my bottom lash, and I'm going to be using the Charlotte Tilbury Rock and Coal Iconic Liquid Eye Pencil in the shade Verushka Mink. I'll just take the product onto the tip of the brush. Then of course we have to go in with mascara. And for highlight, of course, I'm going to be using none other than Becca's Shimmering Skin Perfector Pressed in Champagne Pop, in collaboration with Jaclyn Hill. This is quite a warm highlight. It's definitely a lot more warmer than Moonstone, a bit more golden than Opal. I think there's a nice contrast with the Cool Tone eyes. I might take an ever so small amount down the centre of my nose as well, and then my Cupid's bow. For the lips, I'm going to go in with Maxor lip pencil, which I've kind of completely fallen back in love with. I'm going to be going in with Gerard Cosmetics lipstick in the shade Vintage Rose. It's a kind of dusty rose, which is right up my street. Not too kind of loud or perky. It's just very muted and subdued and just very, very wearable. Right, and then of course we have to finish off by setting that all in place, and I'm going to be using Urban Decay's Chill Makeup Setting Spray. I also added the shade Wisteria to the inner corners to finish off this look. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching this tutorial, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!